That's odd. I don't remember locking this.
You wouldn't happen to remember if my aunt had a wind-up toy monkey at the yard sale?
Oh, not a cherished childhood memory now, was it?
Oz, the actual monkey used in the film is like perfectly creepy. How many designs did you look at before you finally landed on this look? And then what made that version the right choice?
He's very specifically described in the script as being sort of this convergence of exactly what you'd expect, right? Because I wanted to sort of take advantage of the fact that everybody seeing toy monkeys has some like uncanny aversion to that entity. So I wanted to make sure that it was classic and classical with the little red vest and the pants and the thing, and the smile. But then I wanted to sort of blur the edge between, oh, it's obviously a toy, but it's sort of like organic in a way. So it's got these like smoker's yellow teeth. It's got its little feet that grip the drum underneath. And so there was sort of riding the line where you kind of had to look at it twice to be like, it's fake, right?
Yeah.
And once that was communicated to the really brilliant concept artist, I think we kind of got it on one try. I mean, I know that sounds sort of
Wow.
punk, but I think we did. We're that good.
I mean, if it's punk, like you're a punk, so you nailed it. Theo,
Thanks.
what was your reaction when you first saw the doll?
It was kind of exactly as I imagined it in a way. I mean, the kind of organic elements were nice touches, which made it feel very real. It's heavier than I thought it would be, larger. And I think there's something interesting about, our relationships to kind of primates, primate toys, because we think we're similar to monkey evolutionarily, but then they're animals. So there's something kind of, you know, you can't quite get your hand on in terms of the danger of them,
It's
but
quite off-putting, isn't it?
it is a little off. Thank
It
you for helping me there. But
Quite,
but
quite.
it moved and reacted. You know, it's animatronic, so there was someone moving its arms, its teeth. It smiled, which usually you have to do that with a tennis ball. So it was kind of ideal.
Well, I loved it. Now, Theo, I did have to look up and see if you were a Gemini because you played the twins so well. How did you go about comparing, or can you compare how you approached them differently and how you went about that?
What would a Gemini mean?
Well, a
Twins.
Gemini is like
Twins.
two personalities,
Oh,
you
two
know?
personalities. Yes,
You
of course.
nailed it.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Yeah, they were, the writing, they were
It's
distinct.
just good writing.
But for me, I have to, I have to come in on the day, kind of in the headspace of that character, because I find it hard to, you know, kind of flip on the button, if that makes sense. So if it's a day where it's Hal, then I would be the more measured version of myself and find the pieces of myself in Hal that I would kind of empathize with. When it's Bill, then I can kind of let my hair down, as it were, and I come in more audaciously. So it starts from there, but also the idea of two brothers who are completely different comes a little bit from my family. My sister has identical twins, and they look very similar, but they are completely different people. So I had a kind of touch point with that.
And it's true, on days when he would come to work as Hal, it was a little bit like, you okay, man? You all right? And on days when he would come to work as Bill, it'd be like, keep that dude away from me. He's going to try to lick me or something.
Which I did, obviously.
Obviously. Now, Oz, how did you go about choosing the manner of deaths in this film? Because it's a wide range. And then were there any ideas that ultimately didn't make it because maybe like a line had to be drawn?
There was certainly no line ever drawn. I mean, maybe practicality of how to actually do something with time and money, sort of budget and schedule makes everything hard on all movies, regardless of the size of the movie. So the only thing that got lost was maybe there was one gag of a priest getting cut in half by a concrete saw, one of those wet concrete saws that they cut the street open with, and he gets right down the middle. We didn't shoot that. It was we deemed it sort of too hard to make look right. As far as writing them, I had kind of one rule, and the rule was none of these deaths are legitimately possible, right? None of these, like pool water and electricity don't interact that way. You can't take a head off with a hibachi knife. These are things that can never happen in life. And that brought it into the comedic and into the cartoon, which is where I wanted to be. It was more Wile E. Coyote and Itchy and Scratchy than Terrifier.
Theo, what was the collaboration process like with Oz? Was there a specific note during filming that really stood out to you that he had for you?
We started with a lot of hugging and then quite a lot of neck kissing,
Wow.
nuzzling. No, I think no, we had a good time. We have a similar kind of comedy sensibility, so I knew exactly what he wanted, and it kind of aligned with what I find funny as well.
It did evolve eventually to a kind of thing where like we would show up on set and we'd look at each other like, and he'd be like, and we kind of knew the volumes that we meant and that we couldn't actually say them out loud because he's always mic'd, right? He's walking around on set always mic'd. So I would come up to him to try to talk to him and he's always going like this.
Oh.
Because he doesn't want anybody to hear what we're talking about because we're talking about stuff that probably shouldn't be broadcast.
Oh man, I mean, it could have been for a great, blooper reel or extra or something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Any thoughts on Stephen King giving his support to the film?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the top of the mountain, right? It's like it's the guy saying that the thing that I did for him lands with him and that he appreciates it. And he doesn't need to appreciate it. He doesn't he doesn't need to defer to what I did. And the fact that he not only approves but is like a fan of it is that's what they call the gold ring.
Yeah, that is. You did good, man.
Thanks, pal.
The toy monkey?
It's evil. It's basically the devil.
Everybody dies. And that's life.
Tatiana, your everybody dies speech. I mean, talk about nailing the delivery.
Really?
Definitely. How did you get to that right tone and were you able to improvise at all with that speech?
No improv required. Oz's writing was so specific and so tonally like in a certain pocket. And yeah, I just remember, being on set. That was one of the first things we shot. And his direction is always so fun and so unexpected. And the things that he gave me to play with in that scene just were like opposite of what I had anticipated. And yeah, there's so much in that concept in what Lois is saying to her kids. There's so much heaviness and there's so much humor and there's so much wisdom and also like kind of nonchalance about it. Like it's just really it's like a fun thing to navigate.
Definitely. I mean, you teetered that line perfectly. I do want to talk about the monkey because it's so perfectly creepy, the actual doll.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to it when you first saw it?
I loved it. I saw it sitting like in a box. It was just like on set. I was like, oh, and it's real. Like it's like a real puppet. Like it's a thing that exists, which is so exciting as an actor that you're not working with like a CG something. It's like a real practical thing that someone had to build. And yeah, like a very, very exciting thing for me who grew up like watching Ninja Turtles and loving the animatronics and that. And you know what I mean? Like it's very cool.
Yes, always better to have the real thing there.
Yeah.
Now, one of the most striking images from the movie and the trailer we see is when your eyes bleed. That was so intense. Was that always the intention to be that intense with that scene? And what was it like to shoot that?
So fun. That scene feels like a classic horror scene. Like when I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is like, this is like in a series of these kinds of like scenes where you don't expect something and then the jump scare. But yeah, it was like a great combo of practical and special effects, which is always, again, like an exciting thing to do as an actor where you kind of have to imagine what's happening, but you also have some element of it that it's actually physically there with you. Yeah. And again, it's just like nightmare stuff. How fun to be in the nightmare instead of having the nightmare.
Totally. So did you have you had like physical tears or dye? Like, how did that feel in your eyes?
I mean, I've done so much like eye stuff on, there's, like contact lenses or whatever, where they like, you can't see or you're like seeing red all day or whatever. Yeah. I used to do a lot more horror. So I feel like I was like, I think I was a zombie very briefly in a George Romero movie. And I remember that eye being a real thing. Yeah.
Really, I love it. Okay, now Christian Convery plays your twin sons. What were your impressions of him and how he handled portraying two different people?
He's astonishing. He's such a good actor. he's so funny. He's so dexterous with character. Like he really, for like a kid, ostensibly, he has such like knowledge about how people are and how they are different from each other, how, you know, he's like delineated these two completely different guys. And you can see that resonance in like Theo's performance too. Like the two of them have, I still refer to Christian as twins. Like I still think of him as twins because he was so, so good.
Oh, I love that. And lastly, what was the most shocking death that you saw when you watched the movie?
There's a death, the realtor,
Yes.
who's,
So good.
who's my friend from when I was 7.
Oh my
We've
God.
been best friends since we were like 7 and 9. And so that was shocking to me.
Whoever controls it controls life and death.
So you are no stranger to the horror genre. You were in Halloween Ends, but I recognize you from the Taste music video where Sabrina Carpenter and Jenna Ortega killed you. So very serious question here. Who's the scariest killer? Michael Myers, the monkey, or Sabrina and Jenna?
Oh my God. That day was terrifying because who can't be terrified in the presence of the mega stars that are Jenna and Sabrina? My God, dude, what a scream queen. Being in that shower with Jenna and watching those two go at each other was terrifying and freaky.
So, okay, we need like a Michael Myers, monkey, Sabrina and Jenna, like
Yeah, just a crossover of everything would be good. Just like a total acid trip of crossovers would be fantastic.
I think Oz might be into directing that one. I just have a feeling. So
if anyone can do it, it's Oz.
Definitely, definitely. Talk to me about the first moment that you saw the actual monkey on set. What were your reactions to it?
Okay, so I got to go in, no, not to spoil anything, but I had to do a head cast doubling my head. So I got to go into the shop where they were building the monkey. And at that point, it had no hair on it because they were putting individual hairs. So you can imagine how creepy that monkey is already. And then imagine it hairless with the eye. And it was so vile and uncomfortable. But also the thing weighs like a lot. Like I remember picking it up and being like, this is a bad omen. Some weird vibes in here.
Yeah, I was talking to Sarah and I feel like you could hear the weight in the film. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, that has some like density to it. So
Yeah.
a hairless monkey, very scary. So your character Ricky, he gives, the classic late 80s, 90s kind of vibe with his style. Did you have any input to the look of Ricky or maybe a favorite part of his look and feel?
Yeah, I feel like I rolled up like at this point long legs hadn't come out, but a quick shout out to like hair, makeup, and wardrobe team that Osgood hires. They're like young, really cool cats, and I just let them go crazy. And there's the look that I have in this movie when I put on that wig, I knew exactly who the character was, and me and Oz had this thing on set where before a take we would just go and mimic the hair getting out of our eyes, and it really set the playing field for humor and messing around. So.
That's funny.
It's one of my favorite movies I've done for sort of like costume and stuff like that.
When I was a kid, my twin brother and I found something that loved to kill. I did everything I could to make it go away. But it had other plans.
Christian, how did you go about making the twins you play feel different? And did you get to collaborate with Theo at all to sort of compare performances?
First of all, great to talk to you. But yeah, getting to play these two completely polar opposite characters, like literally heads and tails, it was one of my biggest dreams because I've always wanted to play two characters, and I'm sure many other actors would. So I'm very grateful that I got to be able to play this role and get this opportunity. And yeah, collaborating with Oz Perkins and Theo James, we made sure all our visions aligned and we nuanced and gave our characters traits accordingly. And I think after a lot of hard work and dedication, we managed to make these characters to what they are now. And I'm so grateful that I got to be part of this collaborative journey.
That's so awesome. I love to hear that. Let's talk about the first moment you saw the actual monkey doll on set. What were your first reactions?
I was fascinated by it. I actually didn't expect it to be so big, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's animatronic, so and that took me by surprise. I thought they were gonna animate it, so when I saw like the arm go up and like the drumstick start spinning, I was like, "Oh, we are making a movie here, guys." Yeah, you're gonna see that on the screen. It's just such a menacing and ominous obelisk of destruction and hate and killing. And yeah, when I saw those nasty black gums on the teeth of the monkey, it was like, ooh, we killed it here, guys. So yeah, props to the art team, set deck, they killed it.
Absolutely. All right. How about maybe the most shocking death that you saw on screen when you finally watched the movie? Which one really got you?
There are countless deaths in this movie. Like, I don't know, I'd have to guess like 50 or something. It is a bloodbath, and I think there are very much iconic deaths throughout this movie, and one that really sets the tone and sticks with you is at the hibachi grill when the chef's just clanging those knives and it's the close-ups on everyone's faces and it's building and then the drumstick slams down, her head's just chopped off and rolls onto the grill. It's iconic. It sets the tone for the movie, and now you're like, oh wow, I know what I'm getting into. So
I mean, that's exactly how I felt when I watched it. I was like, okay, I understand what's going on now. I can have fun. So I love that. Osgood nailed it perfectly. What was it like having Tatiana play your mom?
Tatiana, she is so lovely. She is amazing. She is such a kind, giving human, first of all. I gotta say that. She is so kind. And she's also an extremely talented actor. And the way that she works on set is super collaborative. And, she's always like, hey, Christian, how do you feel about this? And, vice versa. And I love how she delivers her lines differently throughout each take and each scene, because it really allows you to try new things and see how it meshes within the script and the nature of the movie. Mm-hmm. So Tatiana's diversity within her character and delivering of her lines just really made it such an amazing experience. She is so talented.
Definitely. You guys had that connection. You could see it. So we noticed that you've actually been in 2 animal horror films. We have Cocaine Bear and now, of course, The Monkey. So if you're going to do another animal horror film, like which animal would you want it to be? Give me a little log line.
There are a lot of scary animals out there. Like, hippos. Imagine being
Yes.
charged by a hippo. Like, that right
They're
there.
the most dangerous animal.
I know. Their bite force is just diabolical. It's insane. And they can run really fast too. So that would be a very scary one. But in the meantime, I have no clue because, acting right now, there's a lot of people in the industry and there's so many talented writers, and I'm just looking forward to whatever comes my way. And hey, if I'm doing a trio of animal horror films, I'd hope it wasn't a hippo, because that would very much scare me. So.
I love it. Someone's going to be writing the script already and they'll be sent
Just
your
targeting
way.
me, like I'm gonna make Christian scared of hippo.
Specifically.
A beast not from this earth.
Hi, Sarah. You
Hi.
are literally on fire in this movie. So,
Literally.
how much of that was you versus the stunt double? And what was it like shooting that scene? Were there any mechanics or anything like that you had to follow?
It was a technical scene that kind of a blueprint of technical aspects that I needed to follow. I when I actually got on set, I wasn't sure what I was going to be doing and what the stunt double was going to be doing. So as time went by and we got closer and closer to what I had hoped that a stunt double was doing, but then secretly was like, do I want to do it myself? Because that sounds like fun. I kept asking, so what's the plan for when when I'm actually on fire is that, and there was a stunt woman that did come in and take over the majority of it kind of once I leave the kitchen. But when I'm running around in the kitchen, I had this mechanism, this light mechanism that created the illusion, like the glow of fire on my face. So it kind of took me all the way up to leaving the house, and then our incredible stunt woman took over.
Wow. I mean, even just the thought of that, like, did you flinch at all? Even though you knew it's like, I'm protected, but just the idea of the flames, was it scary?
Totally scary. And I think they tried to actually do a very physical, I actually wasn't there when she did her stuff, and I don't think they actually had real flames, although they were hoping to. But I think they just decided for, safety wise and time wise that they would just put it in after. But I was, she was suited up, and her, she was bald and had all the, hair, the prosthetics, and she looked incredible, and it was terrifying.
It was so good. What was the first moment that you saw the actual monkey on set, and what were your reactions to it?
It was very strange because when you read the script and it's called the monkey and the monkey, and it's the through line all the way. And then to actually get there and you see it just sitting there, there is a very strange, it's not real. And yet, because all this is going around, you can't help but think, is there something?
Is this
I know
happening?
there's not, but is there something? Because it's like you're seeing a celebrity or something. You kind of can't believe your eyes. And what I was really blown away by was the weight of it. It was very heavy. It was much bigger than I thought, and it was very heavy.
Yeah, I feel like you could tell that even watching the movie. Of course, you come from a very funny family, as we've all seen on Schitt's Creek. But tell me, how would the Levy family deal with the monkey and its curse?
I don't even want to know. It would be disposed of so fast. No one would be doing anything themselves in this situation. It wouldn't be like, let's dig a hole. It would be call somebody who knows exactly what to do. I don't want to do this wrong. I don't know how to, get the professional in to know that it is gone for good.
Yeah. And then any note from Oz that really stood out to you as a director?
So many, but one of my biggest takeaways from him was just to really enjoy it and have fun with it. And there was such a sense of play on set. Nothing felt serious considering the subject matter. And everyone had such incredible things to say, cast and crew. They just gushed about him when I first got there, that the levity that he brought and the joy he brought to the set just kind of carried through, and it allowed actors to have fun and enjoy each moment.
Definitely. It comes across. And then just if you could choose any other Stephen King story adaptation, new or a reboot, what would you want to join?
I would love to join The Shining.
Yes.
I don't want it to be redone, but if it were to be redone, I would love to be a part of that.
Okay, I see it now. We'll put it out in the universe, but I agree. It's so perfect. It doesn't need to be redone, but if it does, I'm rooting for you in it.
I'll do it. I mean, I'll do it, but
love it.
It's back. It must be vanquished. Why don't you vanquish it, huh, Bill? We have been chosen to witness its power over life and death.
When was the first moment you saw the monkey on set, and what were your reactions to it?
It was a little bit of a scare, to be honest. First off, it's huge. Like, it's way bigger than it looks like in the movie, and it's like 40 pounds. But the first time I saw it on set, I was expecting like lunch. This guy walked up to me with this box to show me it, and he lifted the lid, and I was like really taken aback. I was kind of horrified. I mean, its face is, first off, like really striking, of course.
Yeah.
I think I was expecting like a ham sandwich. I was expecting food because I was hungry. And then this guy walks up to me with um the monkey. So it was definitely um a scarier introduction than it needed to be, I think.
Definitely. Probably lost your appetite for the sandwich.
A little bit, yeah.
Love it. Now, your father-son relationship with Theo's character in the movie is really the heart of the movie. So what was it like creating that relationship and bond on set?
He was a really great actor. And when I first get on sets, my first what I try to do at first is try to like figure out like what the other actor's method is because I don't want to like mess with their space if they have to like get in character. So I saw his difference in demeanor between his two characters, and so I figured he was like, okay, this guy's like a serious method actor. I'll just avoid him. And so for a little while, we first started filming, I didn't talk to him at all, because I didn't want to mess with him. I didn't want to mess with the space. And then during lunch, at some point, he randomly starts talking to me about like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, um, and if I was like interested in martial arts. Um, and I was like, oh, this guy's like he's capable of having a conversation. And so from there, we were really close and had a lot of conversations off camera. But but I was definitely a little taken aback at first. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it probably related to, the distance between your characters in the movie and in real life. What death scene shocked you the most when you watched it? And did it match up with maybe it being just as shocking on set?
So I was actually surprised. There was a lot more on-set special effects than I was expecting. Um, like for example, they had like I thought a lot more of it would be like CGI and whatnot. There was this one death I stayed on set for, where this woman dives into a swimming pool, the electrified one. I don't know if you saw the trailer, but the
Definitely.
AC unit falls off. Yeah, and the electric current, travels to the pool, and they had this like an explosive charge with like bits of limbs and body around it, and they filmed that, and it was a lot more hands-on than I thought it would be. It was really cool, and it's cool to see how much effort went into the special effects for the gore.